This story begins with a scene inside a prison, where we see a criminal who had committed a murder. At that moment, an officer was sitting in front of him for an investigation. However, instead of interrogating him, the officer says, "You've killed a man, and yet you're sitting confidently in front of me. This means you could be a perfect choice for me. If you agree, I can get your sentence overturned. All you have to do is work for me." This officer's name was Fitzroy, a CIA agent who needed operatives for secret Sierra missions. The criminal sitting before him agrees to the offer. Fitzroy eliminates his sentence, and the criminal himself joins the CIA under the name Sierra 6. 18 years later, we see Sierra 6 in a nightclub in Bangkok. A CIA agent named Miranda hands him a toy gun, which served as a signal. Sierra 6 enters a room, and using a key hidden in the toy gun, he unlocks a cabinet to retrieve a larger weapon. This weapon was crucial for completing his mission, to eliminate a man who was leaking CIA's secret information to others. Sierra 6 and Miranda were being led by Carmichael from the control office. When Carmichael gives the order to kill the target, Sierra 6 points his gun at the man. But before he can shoot, someone steps in the way, a child. Shooting here could harm innocent lives. Following orders, he was supposed to complete the mission discreetly, but he refuses. Instead, he steps into the spotlight with a massive gun and tranquilizers, knocking out several guards protecting the target. The club descends into chaos as one by one, the guards are incapacitated. Amid the fighting, Miranda assists Sierra 6. Unfortunately, their target escapes in the chaos. Sierra 6, abandoning everything else, chases him. Soon, the target is right in front of him. The man then reveals, "I know you're Sierra 6, a CIA agent. I was also with the CIA once, Sierra 4. That's why I'm being targeted now." Sierra 6 finds it hard to believe his words. A fight ensues between them, and in the end, Sierra 6 succeeds in stabbing him. Before dying, Sierra 4 hands over his locket to Sierra 6, saying, "The ones you're working for are the real traitors." This locket contains evidence against them. By this time, Miranda arrives and asks Sierra 6, "I've received intel that this man had some secret information from our department. Did you find anything with him?" Sierra 6 responds with a no. Miranda searches for herself but finds nothing. Back at headquarters, Carmichael questions both of them about the evidence, but when both deny having anything, he grows suspicious. Meanwhile, Sierra 6 calls Fitzroy, his former boss, who is now retired. He tells Fitz, "I suspect Carmichael is corrupt, and I have evidence against him. I want to stay here in Bangkok to gather more proof against him." Fitzroy, who had significant influence and secret bases in Bangkok, agrees to help. He tells Sierra 6 that the next day, some of his men will take him to a safe, secret location where he can carry out his mission. The scene cuts to CIA headquarters, where Carmichael and his assistant are having a secret conversation in the bathroom. They've realized that Sierra 6 now has incriminating evidence against them. To protect themselves, they hatch a plan to eliminate him using a bounty hunter. This bounty hunter, named Lloyd, is tasked with finding and killing Sierra 6. Carmichael tells Lloyd, "You'll find him in Bangkok." Fitzroy is aiding him, so make sure you get to him before he hides in one of Fitzroy's secret locations. Lloyd takes the assignment and kidnaps Fitzroy's daughter to use as leverage. He confronts Fitzroy, saying, "Your daughter will be safe if you give me Sierra 6 a location." Meanwhile, Sierra 6 has arrived at one of Fitzroy's secret locations, as instructed. Fitz's men put him on a private jet to take him to a safe place. However, mid-flight, Fitz, under duress from Lloyd, orders his men to kill Sierra 6. The same men who were supposed to rescue him now turn against him. A fierce fight breaks out on board. Sierra 6 fights to defend himself, but the battle damages the plane. Both engines catch fire, leaving everyone on board in a dire situation. Just before the plane crashes, the pilots eject using parachutes. Sierra 6 also manages to jump out and grabs hold of a parachute to save himself. Once safely on the ground, he calls Fitzroy and asks, did you send those men to kill me or rescue me? Fitzroy confesses, I was forced to do it. Lloyd has kidnapped my daughter. Hearing Fitzroy's daughter's name, Sierra 6 is hit with flashbacks from 2 years ago. At that time, Fitzroy had to leave on a secret mission, but Carmichael had refused to provide security for his daughter. Fitzroy and another CIA agent had requested Sierra 6 to take care of her. Over time, Sierra 6 developed a strong bond with Fitzroy's daughter. Fitzroy's daughter was ill and had a pacemaker in her heart, which meant she often required emergency hospital visits. One such day, when Sierra 6 rushed her to the hospital, he discovered that her pacemaker had a tracker installed in it. That same night, when they returned home, Sierra 6 noticed the house's cameras suddenly shutting off. Realizing something was wrong, he prepared for an attack. Sure enough, an intruder came to harm Fitzroy's daughter, but Sierra 6 easily defeated him. The scene shifts back to the present. Sierra 6 visits a specific location and retrieves a bag containing a large amount of money, weapons, and an address. The address leads him to a house, where he receives a fake passport and new identity. However, the person at the house recognizes Sierra 6. Lloyd had placed a hefty bounty on capturing Sierra 6 alive or dead, which had attracted bounty hunters worldwide. The man, seizing the opportunity, lures Sierra 6 into a specific spot to take his picture. However, the location was a trap. At the press of a button, the floor beneath Sierra 6 opens, and he falls into a pit. Enraged, Sierra 6 shoots at the door above, but it's futile. He realizes the man must have already informed Lloyd of his location. The scene cuts to the CIA headquarters, where Carmichael is interrogating Miranda. Carmichael suspects Miranda is now allied with Sierra 6, but Miranda denies any connection, stating, I met him for the first time during this mission. While Miranda's interrogation continues, the scene shifts back to the tunnel where Sierra 6 is trapped. Inside the pit, Sierra 6 begins devising a way out. Using tools he gathers, he extracts gunpowder from bullets and works on the water pipes around him. Meanwhile, Carmichael receives a message that Sierra 6 has been captured. Miranda, sitting across from him, reads the message on his monitor. Once Carmichael leaves, Miranda quickly exits in her car, heading toward Sierra 6's location. By now, Lloyd and his team arrive at the pit and begin firing, alerting Sierra 6 to their presence. Anticipating this, Sierra 6 activates a device he had prepared, causing a massive water explosion. The resulting pressure blows open the trapdoor above, and Sierra 6 escapes. As Lloyd's men storm in, Sierra 6 confronts them. Thanks to his rigorous training, he fights them off single-handedly, defeating many of them in close combat. Just before Sierra 6 could defeat Lloyd and escape, Lloyd sprayed pepper spray into his eyes. As Lloyd started talking to him, Sierra 6 managed to toss a grenade at his feet. Seeing this, Lloyd ran in the opposite direction to save himself, while Sierra 6 jumped out of a window. Injured and trying to escape, Sierra 6 was pursued again by Lloyd, who pointed a gun at him. Before Lloyd could pull the trigger, he suddenly collapsed unconscious. Sierra 6 turned to see Miranda standing behind Lloyd with a tranquilizer gun. She then pointed the gun at Sierra 6 and ordered him to get into the trunk of her car. When he refused, she tranquilized him too and forcibly placed him in the car. When Sierra 6 regained consciousness, Miranda explained, Carmichael thinks I'm working with you. He believes we orchestrated all of this together. Because of you, I've been suspended, and my job is at risk. I need your help to clear my name, and you're going to help me. Sierra 6 agreed, but on one condition. First, I need to deliver this drive that Sierra 4 gave me. It contains evidence against Carmichael. Once it's safe, I'll help you. Meanwhile, Lloyd learned about a secret parcel Sierra 6 had sent to another city. He interrogated Fitzroy to find out who lived there and what connection they had to Sierra 6. Fitzroy initially refused to answer, but under the threat of harm to his daughter, he revealed that the recipient was Margaret, a former CIA agent. By this time, Miranda and Sierra 6 had already reached Margaret's house. There, They finally checked the drive, which contained incriminating evidence against Carmichael. It revealed how he had illegally orchestrated bombings in the city to gain political power, collaborated with corrupt politicians, and sold sensitive CIA information to gangsters for personal gain. Margaret kept the drive for safekeeping and handed Sierra 6 the keys to a bulletproof car so he could escape. However, before they could leave, gunfire erupted at Margaret's apartment. Lloyd and his team had arrived. Realizing the danger, Margaret showed Miranda and Sierra 6 a secret escape route and stayed behind to distract the attackers. As the agents stormed the apartment, Margaret left the gas running and detonated the entire building, sacrificing herself to cover their escape. Outside, Sierra 6 tried to flee but was apprehended by the police. Lloyd, determined to complete his mission, sent his men to attack the police. Sierra 6 noticed this and grabbed a gun from one of the officers, firing into the air to create chaos. Lloyd's men began attacking the police, and the situation turned into a bloodbath. The commotion escalated, drawing in the SWAT team to intervene. Amid the chaos, Sierra 6 planned his next move. To manage the chaotic situation, Carmichael's assistant at the CIA headquarters, who had been monitoring everything, was now completely panicking. Despite all the chaos, no one had yet managed to shoot Sierra 6. Spotting a gun nearby, Sierra 6 used his feet to pull it toward him. He quickly shot a guard, freeing himself, and then disappeared from sight. Seeing the situation spiraling further out of control, Lloyd announced an additional $10 million reward for anyone who killed Sierra 6, on top of the existing bounty. This announcement sent all the hired killers back on Sierra 6's trail, who had now boarded a moving train. On the train, Sierra 6 first shot one of his pursuers, but soon realized more enemies were after him. 2 cars were chasing the train as well. Fighting multiple attackers at once, Sierra 6 shot at the cars, causing them to crash into each other. At the same time, Miranda arrived to help Sierra 6. He managed to escape from the train onto a street, but a heavily armed van was now pursuing him. Just as the van was about to attack Sierra 6, Miranda rammed it with her car, allowing Sierra 6 to leap onto her vehicle. Together, they escaped once again. Meanwhile, Lloyd was desperately trying to contact his remaining hired killers, but most of them had either been killed or lost contact. Carmichael's assistant was astonished by the situation. She had never seen someone survive against hundreds of killers like Sierra 6 had. Miranda and Sierra 6 reached a hospital, where Sierra 6 tracked down Fitzroy's daughter using her pacemaker's code. Before he could leave, however, he encountered a new assassin. This assassin was far more skilled, and Sierra 6 found himself struggling during their intense fight. The battle went back and forth, with neither gaining a clear advantage, but the assassin ultimately managed to stun Sierra 6 and steal the locket around his neck. This locket contained the drive with all the evidence against Carmichael. The assassin was about to leave when the police intervened, momentarily forcing him to surrender. However, in a sudden move, the assassin attacked the police and escaped. Taking advantage of the distraction, Miranda and Sierra 6 fled the scene as well. They eventually reached a veterinary hospital, where Sierra 6 began treating the injuries inflicted by the assassin. Despite everything, he remained determined to finish his mission and bring down Carmichael. The assassin, who had stabbed Sierra 6 and retrieved the evidence against Carmichael, delivered it to Lloyd at the CIA headquarters, where Carmichael and his assistant were also present. They decided that Sierra 6, having seen all the evidence against them, posed a significant threat and must be eliminated. They also planned to kill Miranda and Fitzroy's daughter. The assassin overheard their conversation and asked Lloyd, "Will you really kill innocent girls?" Lloyd, angered, told him to mind his own business. As they were discussing this, the building's power suddenly went out. Outside, Miranda was seen entering the building using a burning helicopter as a distraction. Armed with a large gun, she advanced quickly, taking down guards. Inside, Fitzroy had been keeping his daughter safe in a room where Carmichael had imprisoned her. Hearing the commotion, Fitzroy told his daughter to hide under the bed. Moments later, they sensed someone approaching their room. They were scared but relieved when Sierra 6 entered, there to rescue them. He handed Fitzroy a gun. Suddenly, they realized someone was in the corridor. Sierra 6 fired 3 shots, killing 3 people hiding behind the wall. Meanwhile, Lloyd noticed that Miranda wasn't doing much damage outside, likely serving as a distraction so Sierra 6 could rescue Fitzroy and his daughter. Rushing to Fitzroy's room, Lloyd discovered he was too late. Sierra 6 had already escaped with Fitzroy and his daughter. Miranda, on the other hand, managed to destroy the building's main headquarters with a grenade. Upstairs, Sierra 6 was trying to secretly evacuate Fitzroy and his daughter through an upper exit. However, they were spotted, and heavy gunfire ensued, leaving Fitzroy injured. Realizing he couldn't continue, Fitzroy told Sierra 6 to take care of his daughter. Sierra 6, carrying Fitzroy's daughter, prepared to leave. Before jumping into the water with her, he handed Fitzroy a grenade. They jumped, while Fitzroy remained behind to confront Lloyd's men. Back in the building, the assassin who had brought the evidence against Carmichael regained consciousness. Miranda also entered the building, but the assassin attacked her. Just as he was about to kill her, he hesitated and spared her life instead. This left Miranda stunned. The assassin handed her the evidence against Carmichael, saying, "I can't work for them anymore. They're not worthy of loyalty." He then left. Upstairs, when Lloyd reached Fitzroy, he was shocked to find neither Sierra 6 nor Fitzroy's daughter there. Before Lloyd could interrogate Fitzroy pulled the pin on the grenade Sierra 6 had given him. To save himself, Lloyd used one of his men as a shield. The explosion rendered Lloyd unconscious for a short time, but he quickly regained his senses. Now, determined more than ever, he resumed his pursuit of Sierra 6. Sierra 6 hides Fitzroy's daughter on a ship and sets out to end the matter once and for all. Soon, he confronts Lloyd, who captures him and is about to kill him. However, a sudden attack with a flare gun distracts Lloyd. From a distance, 6 sees that Fitzroy's daughter was the one who fired it. This gives 6 the chance to regain control of the situation. He shoots Lloyd, breaking one of his fingers. Just as he is about to kill him, Lloyd takes Fitzroy's daughter hostage and escapes. 6 chases after them, determined to rescue her. Lloyd challenges 6 to hand-to-hand combat, agreeing to release the girl if 6 wins. Reluctantly, 6 sends Fitzroy's daughter away, despite her hesitation to leave him. As she leaves, she tells 6 to win. The fight begins. Both men land heavy blows on each other. As dawn breaks, 6 gains the upper hand, smashing Lloyd's head into a fountain repeatedly. Though injured, Lloyd refuses to give up and pulls out a knife, stabbing 6 several times in an attempt to weaken him. However, 6 outsmarts him, grabbing Lloyd by the neck and gaining the upper hand again. Before 6 can kill him, a gunshot rings out. 6 looks up to see Suzanne, Carmichael's assistant, standing there. She shoots Lloyd, killing him, and then shoots 6 in the leg, leaving him confused about her intentions. Suzanne explains that too much blood has been spilled and the authorities will arrive soon. Someone has to take the fall for this chaos, and Lloyd, being a despicable man, was the perfect scapegoat. However, she tells 6 to go to prison temporarily, promising to get him out because his unique skills are invaluable. Meanwhile, Suzanne retrieves the drive containing the evidence against Carmichael and gives it to him. Carmichael destroys it, ensuring his secrets remain safe. The scene cuts to 2 weeks later. Sierra 6 wakes up in a secure, heavily guarded room in Washington. It's unclear where he is, but the tight security suggests he is under close surveillance. Elsewhere, Carmichael, Miranda, and Suzanne are being questioned by a CIA investigative panel. Due to the narrative they created, all 3 are cleared of wrongdoing. Before leaving, Miranda warns Carmichael that if anything happens to Fitzroy's daughter, she will reconsider her testimony against him. Outside, Carmichael immediately asks Suzanne about Fitzroy's daughter. She informs him that the girl is in Virginia. Carmichael then inquires about Sierra 6, who is being held in a secret CIA facility, reportedly unconscious for days. When Carmichael and Suzanne visit the basement facility to check on him, They are shocked to find Six's bed empty. The final scene shifts to Fitzroy's daughter's house. She notices her window is open and goes to close it. There, she finds a disc labeled, "Let Me Loud." She plays the music and, as it plays, hears gunfire and screaming in the background. Overwhelmed, she covers her ears. Suddenly, her door opens. Relieved, she sees Sierra Six standing there. She runs to hug him. In the closing moments, we see Six and Fitzroy's daughter driving away in a car, leaving everything behind as they head for an unknown destination. With this movie concludes. I hope you have liked this movie recap. Please like, share and subscribe for more real recaps.